Taking opened the door and shot him.
Locked up, always a you-know-who. And TK got the don't bring your girlfriend to work day experience because his ex basically destroyed his entire defense. Gets even crazier because TK actually had a hand in it. Let me explain. The courtroom was dead silent on April 7th, 2025, day 5 of TK's second murder trial. All eyes were locked on Joanna Reyes, TK's former shorty, as she took the stand looking visibly shaken. What came next had everybody's jaw on the floor. She straight up pointed the finger at TK, telling the jury she watched him shoot photographer Mark Salivar outside a Chick-fil-A back in 2017.
Taking opened the door and shot him.
Reyes broke down in tears while snitching on her ex, giving the kind of testimony that could land the 24-year-old rapper behind bars for life. TK is already serving 55 years for the 2016 murder of Ethan Walker, but if convicted in this second case, he's looking at life without parole. And this ain't just any witness. This is the girl who was supposedly riding for him during one of the wildest chapters in recent hip-hop history. When TK cut off his ankle monitor and went on the run, she was by his side. Now she's sitting on the stand telling the DA everything, while he watches his future crumble from the defendant's table.
Joanna Reyes in tears and in her own words described to jurors how a day that started as a planned photo shoot turned deadly. Reyes says at the time Tamar McIntyre referred to her as his girlfriend and had asked for help in finding a photographer. She knew Mark Saldivar through Instagram and reached out to him for his help. She picked him up along with McIntyre and his friends Jalen Bell and Jeremiah Rodriguez, all in the same car. Saldivar asked if he could reschedule and if they could give him a ride to North Star Mall, which she agreed. But then she says everything took a turn.
Quickly flipped to a robbery gone wrong. She broke down exactly how the situation escalated.
We hit the light at McCullough, and Tamar took out his gun and pointed it at Mark and asked for his bag. Mark refused to give him the bag, so they all started hitting him.
Some of TK's supporters have been running with that he wasn't the shooter in the Salivar case. Nah, not according to his own girl. Reyes told the court he pulled the burner and let it off. It gets even darker. She said after the shooting, TK's homie Jalen Bell didn't panic or show remorse. He actually celebrated the murder.
Jalen applauded him and gave him a high five. And they high-fived each other. And Jalen said he caught your first body.
Like a sledgehammer. They painted TK not just as a suspect, but as a killer being celebrated for his first hit. That kind of statement, it burns into a jury's mind, and no slick defense can easily undo it. For folks who've been watching TK's story unfold since he blew up with the race in 2017, this is just another jaw-dropping twist in what might be the wildest saga hip-hop has ever seen. I mean, he really dropped a hit song while on the run, rapped about cutting his ankle monitor, and stood next to his own wanted poster like it was an album cover. Nobody could have guessed the ride would lead here. But what really makes Reyes' testimony hit hard is the timeline. It connects right back to that infamous stretch when TK was on the run after being charged in the 2016 home invasion that led to Ethan Walker's death. He was on house arrest, cut the monitor, and vanished. And it was during that fugitive run that Mark Salivar was allegedly murdered. Now you might be asking, why would Reyes turn on her man like that? Simple. She cut a deal. In exchange for testifying against TK, she's walking away with just 10 years probation on a downgraded charge of tampering with evidence. She flipped TK's life for her own freedom.
Reyes says she was in fear to reach out to police after the shooting because she says McIntyre threatened to kill her and her family. As for the backpack with Saldivar's thing, she said that Bell and McIntyre took off with it. Reyes was offered a plea deal in exchange for her testimony for 10 years probation on the lesser charge of tampering with evidence, which the defense says is a big reason why she said what she said on the stand today.
TK threatened to kill her and her family if she ever opened her mouth. Whether that's real or just her way of justifying flipping, only she knows. But best believe TK's defense jumped all over that. They're painting her like someone who'd say anything to dodge a prison cell. And let's be honest, the stakes were real for her. She was staring down potential felony murder charges as the driver in a robbery that turned deadly. Now, she's walking away with 10 years probation. That's not just leniency, that's a golden ticket. The defense is calling it what it looks like, a plea deal in exchange for throwing TK under the bus. Still, no matter how shaky her credibility might seem, Reyes' testimony hits. Why? Because she wasn't just some random outsider running her mouth, she was there. She says she saw it all go down with her own eyes. The details she dropped, what happened before, during, and after the shooting, they weren't vague. They were surgical. And that kind of storytelling? That's tough to fake. Now remember, TK had a chance to take a plea deal back in February 2024. He said nah. He rolled the dice, and with his ex now on record saying she watched him pull the trigger, that gamble's looking real dangerous. His shot at walking is getting slimmer by the minute. Online, the reactions have been wild. Some are calling Reyes a snake, saying she broke the code. Others say she's just telling the truth, exposing what really happened the night Mark Salivar died. Either way, her words hit like a fatal blow. She didn't just testify, she might have sealed TK's fate. This is what they call the ultimate betrayal. When a street dude gets locked up, there's always that whisper in the back of his head. Who's gonna fold? For TK, the answer came loud and clear. It was the one person he probably thought would ride or die, the girl who was right beside him during one of the most infamous fugitive runs in hip-hop. And this wasn't no casual relationship. This was different. Their bond was forged while ducking the feds. According to her own testimony, Reyes wasn't just some chick tagging along. She was involved. She drove the car during the robbery, helped set up the meetup with Salivar. She was in it. So when she took the stand and pointed the finger, that wasn't just a witness talking. That was his girl, turning into the nail in his coffin.
Joanna Reyes, in tears and in her own words, described to jurors how a day that started as a planned photo shoot turned deadly. Reyes says at the time Tamar McIntyre referred to her as his girlfriend and had asked her help in finding a photographer. She knew Mark Saldivar through Instagram and reached out to him for his help. She picked him up along with McIntyre and his friends Jalen Bell and Jeremiah Rodriguez, all in the same car. Saldivar asked if he could reschedule and if they could give him a ride to North Star Mall, which she agreed. But then she says everything took a turn.
Nah, what TK and Reyes had went way deeper. This wasn't love. It was loyalty forged in crime. They weren't just boyfriend and girlfriend. They were co-defendants waiting to happen. When you're running from the law together, when you're setting up plays and hitting licks side by side, that's a bond that goes beyond anything normal. So when she got on that stand and pointed the finger, that wasn't just betrayal. It was a knife to the spine. For anyone who lives by the street code, what she did is the ultimate violation. Because there's one rule above all: you don't snitch. Especially not on your own partner. That's the line you don't cross, no matter what time you're facing. You hold it down, take the fall if you have to, but you never flip on your right. People. Ever. But Reyes? She made a different choice. A choice a lot of people would call smart, but the streets would call foul. With the DA pressing her and murder charges hanging over her head, she cracked the code wide open. Took the plea, secured 10 years of probation, walked away with her freedom. In her mind, it was survival. But in TK's world, that's unforgivable. She chose herself over the bond, over the code. And once you do that, there's no going back. No loyalty, no trust. Just the cold, hard truth that when things got real, she took the stand, not the weight.
Reyes says she was in fear to reach out to police after the shooting because she says McIntyre threatened to kill her and her family. As for the backpack with Saldivar's thing, she said that Bell and McIntyre took off with it. Reyes was offered a plea deal in exchange for her testimony for 10 years probation on the lesser charge of tampering with evidence, which the defense says is a big reason why she said what she said on the stand today.
Saying he threatened her and her family, that she kept quiet not out of loyalty, but out of fear. Now, whether that's facts or just a convenient story to make snitching look noble, we'll probably never know. But it throws another twist into an already messy situation. Was she really down from the jump and just folded when the pressure hit? Or was she always scared, dragged into something darker than she could handle, and now finally speaking? Her truth? Depends who you ask. But here's the thing. This ain't the first time betrayal showed up in TK's story. His legal track record is full of co-defendants flipping to save themselves. In fact, during his first murder case, the same playbook got used. People started singing for lighter sentences. And while TK got hit with 55 years, one of the girls involved, who helped plan the whole thing, walked away with just probation. Let that sink in. Different faces, same outcome. TK keeps catching the full weight, while others dodge real time by flipping. It's a pattern, and it's one that's been sealing his fate since day one.
But here's where it starts to get wickeder. You remember little white girl from earlier? TK's lawyer brings up the fact that she got 20 years, which was changed to 10 months probation. His lawyer said, what's the difference between the two of them? In this case, you have two 16-year-olds that didn't anybody. In fact, she planned the whole thing. Technically, he shouldn't get more time, right? The judge said, that doesn't sound fair, but technically this is Texas. 55 years.
Only adds fuel to the fire for those who believe he's being made an example of. While others walked or got slaps on the wrist, TK's been hit with the full weight, like the justice system. In Texas had a point to prove, especially with a young black rapper in the spotlight. His uncle even said it straight. If this was California, TK might already be free. But what really turned the courtroom cold was Reyes's testimony. She didn't just say TK was there. She painted him as the one who pulled the trigger. Said he aimed, fired, and ended Mark Salivar's life on purpose. Then she claimed Jalen Bell dapped him up right after, hit him with a "caught your first body" like it was some rite of passage. That level of detail? That's the kind of testimony that sticks. It ain't just hearsay, it's a full narrative that frames TK not just as part of the scene, but the main character in a deadly moment.
Jalen applauded him and gave him a high five, and they high-fived each other, and Jalen said he caught your first body.
Life locked up, Reyes's testimony might be the final nail in the coffin. He's been behind bars since 17, now he's 24. That's 7 years lost, the years that should have been his prime, both in life and in music. And yet somehow he still managed to leave his mark. Nearly 3 million monthly listeners on Spotify. The Race sitting at over 200 million views on YouTube. Platinum plaques, all while sitting in a cell. No tours, no press runs, no label, push, just raw talent that broke through the bars. That contrast, it's wild. A generational talent whose momentum got cut short by the very life he was rapping about. Some fans still ride for him, calling him a legend in the making. Others see the music and the man separately, acknowledging the hits, but not excusing the alleged crimes. That split reflects a deeper tension in hip-hop. Can you respect the art without co-signing the artist? When Reyes stepped down from that witness stand, everything shifted. Whether she did it out of fear, for her own freedom, or because she believed it was right, her testimony may have just sealed TK's fate. In street code, loyalty is law, and she broke it. There's no coming back from that kind of betrayal. But in the courtroom, that betrayal is currency. It's how the system works. You flip, you walk, you stay solid, you rot. Let's keep it a buck. This case ain't just about guilt or innocence. It's showing everybody what the hood already knows. The game is rigged. Look at the facts. Reyes admitted she drove the car during the robbery, admitted she helped set up the victim, admitted she was there, involved, active. But she's getting probation. Meanwhile, TK's looking at life without parole. How's that make sense?
Joanna Reyes, in tears and in her own words, described to jurors how a day that started as a planned photo shoot turned deadly. Reyes says at the time Tamar McIntyre referred to her as his girlfriend and had asked for help in finding a photographer. She knew Mark Saldivar through Instagram and reached out to him for his help. She picked him up along with McIntyre and his friends Jalen Bell and Jeremiah Rodriguez, all in the same car. Saldivar asked if he could reschedule and if they could give him a ride to North Star Mall, which she agreed. But then she says everything took a turn.
First murder case from 2016, we saw the same pattern. While he caught 55 years, despite not being the shooter, a white female co-defendant who actually planned the robbery got probation. The actual shooter got 40 years. Make it make sense.
Here's where it starts to get wickeder. You remember little white girl from earlier? TK's lawyer brings up the fact that she got 20 years, which was changed to 10 months probation. His lawyer said, what's the difference between the two of them? In this case, you have two 16-year-olds that didn't anybody. In fact, she planned the whole thing. Technically, he shouldn't get more time, right? The judge said, that doesn't sound fair, but technically this is Texas. 55 years.
Standard in an interview, he was just there.
He was just there. He was a minor there. You know, he was influence heavy. You know, we all know that he didn't pull that trigger. So I think the guy who did got 20 years, and then my nephew got 55 because I think it was the mockery of the judicial system.
Right.
You know, the song he made, and I remember what the judge told him when I was there when he first got him. So it's like I knew why that judge, you know, he felt that way because you know Texas is hard on their criminals, especially African Americans. So I believe if that stuff happened in California, he would have been out already. But in Texas, it's different.
System rewards snitching over solidarity. Reyes flipped on TK and is walking away with probation. The white girl from the first case cooperated and got probation too. Meanwhile, TK and others who didn't snitch caught decades behind bars. This pattern raises serious questions about how factors like gender, race, and cooperation influence outcomes in the criminal justice system. Research consistently shows that black defendants receive longer sentences than white defendants for similar crimes. When you add in the dynamics of cooperation versus non-cooperation, the disparities get even wider. During her testimony, Reyes tried to position herself as a victim, claiming she stayed silent for years because TK threatened her and her family.
Reyes says she was in fear to reach out to police after the shooting because she says McIntyre threatened to kill her and her family. As for the backpack was Saldivar's thing, she said that Bell and McIntyre took off with it. Reyes was offered a plea deal in exchange for her testimony for 10 years probation on the lesser charge of tampering with evidence, which the defense says is a big reason why she said what she said on the stand today.
Male aggression plays into stereotypes that often influence how the legal system treats different defendants. Women, especially those who present themselves as afraid or coerced, tend to receive more lenient treatment than men accused of similar crimes. The prosecution clearly values Reyes' testimony because it directly places TK at the center of the crime as the shooter. Her account of